Hello, this is Ian the Gun, and I'm out in the middle of Wales, just south of Newquay, on the west coast of Wales. And I'm sat in a pigeon hide, waiting for pigeons to come in. We've got a little bit of a lull at the moment, so I'm just having a quick little break and having a drink of coffee. I'm sat in a hide over a stubble field. I suppose the field's about 10 acres. There's 3 or 4 fields the other side, going up to the north. Over to the east, I can see about 7 miles of patchworked fields, grass, stubble, maize, some with beef cattle on, some with milk herd on. And there's pigeons and crows flying all over the place. But, as I speak to you, it's gone quiet. It'll pick up in a minute, and I'll put the microphone down and I'll go back to shooting. What I've done is I've set up a pattern of crows and pigeons, because we're both feeding on the field when we drove in, and I've got the wind coming from behind me, and what I've done is I've set up a crow pattern on the far left of the hide. I'm going to have to go. I've got a pigeon coming in. Just see the biggest flock of rooks, crows, and I expect there's jackdaws mixed up in with them as well. I would estimate there's about 75, 100, and they're all heading up the valley and heading this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself ready. I'm going to get some cartridges out, put them in my pocket. The rooks are swirling on a thermal, and they're all slowly heading this way to my field. They knew there was food here earlier. Pigeon came up across the field, saw the decoys started to come in, and then veered off and has gone and sat up the top of the field and come down. One of the last ones I shot might need to have to tidy up the pattern. It might be on its back with its legs in the air. Sometimes this can make a difference. So I may have to go out in a minute and have a look, but I'm very reluctant to spoil the pattern that I've got, because I've got loads of birds flying around. I'm going to have to put the gun down. I've got a crow coming in at the moment. That crow was coming straight into the decoys. Came in to about 60 yards and then veered off. Obviously something's wrong with my pattern. Or something's scaring it. I'm going to have to go out and have a look. Just come back out from checking the pattern. I had a crow upside down with its feet in the air, and the pigeon was all twisted up with its one wing in the air flapping around. I couldn't see it because it was in a little bit of a dip in the stubble, but this is obviously what's been stopping the birds coming into the decoys. So I've tidied them up, and when you put your dead birds out, put them into wind. If you put them down the wrong way round, the wind can blow the feathers up. This can also scare other birds up. It keeps the feathers flat, keeps them down. Dead birds make better patterns or better decoys than plastic ones any day of the week. What I might do in a minute, if it still stays quiet, is I've got a pine wood bloater, and what I'll do is take one of my dead birds and put it on that and see if it can bring some more birds in. I've got pigeons playing on the other corner, and they might be coming into the decoys. The flock of rooks has disappeared down the valley, and they're now going off. There's so much food around at the moment. Very, very difficult to guarantee good decoying. They're all, I can see them all. They're about, I suppose, a mile and a half away, going across the valley. And I can see the little black dot silhouetted on the white fluffy clouds. And I suppose we've got about 80% cloud cover at the moment. It's quite high cloud cover. It's quite a nice warm day, but it isn't too hot and sunny, so the pigeons stop feeding. I'm going to have to put the gun down. I've got a crow coming in at the moment. I've managed to shoot a couple more birds, but we've had another lull and it's just gone quiet. The clouds are high. I've got swallows darting and twisting over the field. I got little flocks of hoverflies flying over the hide. There's a road behind the field behind me, and the wind's coming this way, and you might be able to pick it up on the microphone. I got little birds flying up and down the hedges either side. When you're out decoying, your eyes tend to pick up on anything that moves. I think it's because you go into hunting mode and your eyes fix, not on one point, but you tend to scan the horizon and open your eyes wide just to look to see if anything's coming. I suppose it's our instinct to hunt that's within us, that a lot of us have forgotten. Decoying is trying to persuade a wild bird to come in and feed with its allegedly mates so that you can shoot them for the pot. The same's true with fly tying. You tie a fly to entice a fish, thinking that it's natural food for it. And all we're doing is what man's done for millions of years. We're hunting, pure and simple. Under this lull, what I've done is I've moved the decoys farther apart because I've put the dead birds in with the pattern and I thought they might be a bit close, so I've stretched them out a bit. I've also picked up one of the dead birds and put it on the pinewood floater. Now, it's a debatable point where you want to put your floater: in front of the decoys as if it's had a feed and it's going up to roost, or you put it 20 yards coming into your pattern as if it's coming into land. If it doesn't work in the front of the pattern first, I'll move it and put it down. If I get birds come in and they land on the floater, they might come down and land in my decoys, or they might fly over the top and land in front of the floater. We've now got pigeons flying up and down the flight line on the hedge on the right hand side of the field, but they don't seem to be interested in coming into any decoys. Wayne, who I'm shooting with, he's invited me over for this week, over to Wales. Wayne is in the next field over in the corner. I suppose he's 600-700 yards away. He hasn't fired a shot for a while. I've got pigeons flying up and down the flight lines, but obviously they've had a good feed this morning and they're not interested in feeding. Oh, another flurry of birds came in then, over the top of me that time. Hit one, missed one. Never mind, I've missed a few this morning. I'm not going to say I hit every one. Normally work out at the end of the day that I normally end up with about 2 cartridges to every one bird, which I think is quite reasonable. Right, I'm going to pop out and tidy up my dead birds a minute. I think we've put the floater in the right place. Those birds came in and landed, but they landed right out into the field, about 30 yards. Yes, they're shootable, but they were shifting a bit in this breeze. That's another one in the bag. As I was trying to explain about the floater, I've put it in front of the decoys, and the last 2 pigeons that came in a fair distance out and tried to land, well, I'm not going to say in the middle of the field, but almost in the middle of the field, too far out to shoot. I've just had a crow come in that I just fired at, and totally missed, but he came floating in lovely to the decoys, and I thought he was going to float over the top of the hide, so he almost got like shooting like a flushed bird. But as I brought the gun up, it saw me and it twisted and I missed it. Never mind, there'll be another along in a minute. Wayne hadn't had a shot for a while. He's down, like I said, over in the other field. He will, they'll come in again. There are loads and loads of pigeons flying around. Wow. What I've got now is oh, it's a buzzard. I got a big bird just hovering, just floating on the breeze over the other field, in front of me, about 1/4 of a mile away. It's so small, but it's floating up and down from the valley up across the top of the hill here. Occasionally over here in Wales you'll have the buzzard actually come down and start tucking into your dead birds. The buzzards sometimes look rather shocked, and they get that expression on their faces when they come down, they swoop down and they pick up something plastic, pick it up and then drop it, and then look down at it, and as if to say, I wasn't so stupid as to try and pick that up. But if I shoot a pigeon and it feeds the wild buzzards, then that's all part of the game. He's picking up carrion. One day shooting here, I sat back in the hide and we had a flurry of pigeons come in, and then it all went quiet like it is at the moment. And then I had a red kite came over, it swooped over, it circled the decoys. I suppose I had about 30 dead birds out at the time. It came down and then promptly started tucking in to one of my dead pigeons. Absolutely amazing sight. Only one problem: no camera to record it. He tucked into it for about half an hour, turned it upside down, ripped its breast feathers off, and then started tucking into it. Had a feed, then obviously had enough, then got up and knocked off and disappeared. But I didn't mind not shooting for a while. To actually see a red kite come down and start tucking into a dead pigeon was an absolutely magnificent sight. Right, let's have a look and see what's happening outside a minute. Right, we've got those crows that we went down the valley on the thermal. They're now flying back up the valley in 1s or 2s. There's a great big stubble field about 1.5 miles across the valley, and I think they're heading down for that. You can't guarantee that they're going to come back to where they were feeding, where they left, or if they're going to come back to your decoys. Got to imagine that these are wild animals. I got a pigeon floating over it. Oh, he's going over Wayne's decoys. There he is, twisted round, over the top. He's obviously, don't quite know what's happened there. Oh, he's going to come over to mine. Hang on a minute. Gun's on my lap. Gun's closed. Safety is on. All I got to do is wait. Oh, he decided to twist round and go and sit in the tree. This is what pigeons do. They do this all day to you. Sometimes you can sit here and they'll just keep coming in and coming in and coming in, and you'll end up with 120, 150 birds without any problem at all, and you'll be shooting for 2 or 3 hours. Another day like this, there's so much food around, so much stubble. They can feed wherever they like. They go down, they have a good feed, then they sit. And they'll sit for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and just sit in a tree, digest what they've already eaten. And they're now flocking down into the bushes, down on my right hand side, along the flight line. They're obviously rested. One's decided to come and have a look at my decoys. Up he comes, over the field, and he's veered off and gone down on the other side of the field. They're beginning to come back. Pigeons have just left, just taken off from their roost on the trees on the right. They've got up. They're going over to Wayne's decoys this time, and circling round and going in down to that side, and one drops down into the field. I always tell when Wayne's shooting, you see a flock of birds go over the top, and then you hear a bang, and just see them fall out the sky. He's absolutely magnificent shot. He's a better shot than I am. But then he shoots pigeons all the year round. Shoots a lot more pigeons than I do. He shoots about 3,000 to 5,000 pigeons a year. You know those crows that headed down the valley? I've got about 40 or 50 of them coming straight over the top of my decoys. They came over, but they were far too high to shoot. One dipped out of the pattern, dipped down over the decoys, and I've shot that one. And I've got another half a dozen coming in behind them. All 6 of them dipped and came straight into the decoys. Hit the first one, missed the second, never mind. I needed 2 shots for that one. Winged it with the first one and got it with a second. Wayne's moving around, he's coming back. I don't know if he's going to pack up or not, or if he's going to go off and see what's happening, but we'll wait and see. Right, this is an odd one. What's happened now is, as I said, Wayne was coming up across to see how I was doing, and we had a quiet spot, and I mean it really went dead. No, it really went dead for an hour and a half. I didn't fire a shot. So Wayne's decided that we ought to do a swap. He wants to have a break. He's got about 15-20 birds on the ground. What we've done is literally swap decoys. He's gone up the other end to have a break, and I've come down to his hide and sitting on his seat and using his decoys, and it's gone quiet again. This is the way it goes. This is pigeon shooting. I don't think it's me jinxing anything. I don't think I've done anything wrong. The pattern's the same. I haven't touched Wayne's pattern at all. I haven't done anything to it, so you can't blame that. I'm sat here, I've got a face mask on, I've got the gun on my lap, I've got 2 cartridges in, I've got the gun open. All I'm doing is just waiting for something to happen. It'll come. I think I will pour another cup of coffee. That normally works. Pour a cup of coffee and we'll see if we can get the birds to come in. We've just gone into another little bit of a lull. And Wayne's hide's about the same as mine. There's not a lot of difference. Ex-army camouflage net. Multicoloured in sort of like greens and browns, 100% full coverage on the net with no holes in it. We've got a few pigeons flying around the outskirts. Wayne's hide is not as open as mine. It's about 20 yards from the edge of the hedge, and at the bottom of the hill his decoys are stretched out onto the left hand side. The wind's coming from about a 45-degree angle from my right hand shoulder. The birds are, it's not a very strong wind, it's only a breeze really. Birds haven't got a lot of time to see the hide, which is quite well concealed. They tend to come up across about a 15-acre field of maize, hop over the hedge, and there's a gap in the hedge, twist round and just land in the decoys. The decoys have been out and had a look at the pattern, and they are all over the place. I haven't got a lot of time to get ready for these. They're straight over the top of the hedge and straight into the decoys, and they are flying. They're quite fast birds at the moment on this side of the field. Totally different than when I was sat on the other hide. They tended to float into the decoys quite slowly and then come into land. These are coming straight across me and landing at the top. I'm having to sweep through the birds, follow the birds through to hit them. Where I was sat in the other hide, I got to admit, I was poking at them a bit. Pick a spot, pull the trigger, and they just seem to come down. But totally different shooting in this spot. Now, as I was trying to explain before the birds came in, I'm sat in a hide, and the decoys, the patterns are principally the same as mine, a horseshoe shape, spread out, the decoys about 4 or 5 paces apart. Not facing in, all facing into wind, the majority facing into wind, but on 10-2 and 10 past towards the wind direction. And the dead birds are upside down with their legs in the air, on their sides, tails up, tails down. They are all over the place. But it doesn't seem to be stopping the birds coming in. Don't ask me why. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes a difference. On my hide and the other hide, I had to turn them back so they were on their front, so they didn't have their legs in the air, because it stopped the birds coming in. Here it isn't making a difference at all. interesting. Just had the police helicopter swoop over the top. There's a little airport about 2 miles down the valley, and it's normally parked in there, but it's just hopped up and come round the field and gone back down the valley again. Oh well. Wonder if that's going to scare the birds off or make them move a bit so we can do some... They've made them move a bit. I'm going to put the mic down a minute. I got birds coming in. Just had a bird come in high, but it didn't drop to come into the decoys. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go out, and we've shot a few birds. The killing area is beginning to get a bit crowded. All I'm going to do is empty the killing area and just spread the pattern out a bit. Hopefully that'll make the birds land again. That did the trick. I've got almost like 2 patterns either side of the hide now. One stretching up the hill, and only a small little one. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decoys down on the right hand side, and I must have 40 decoys mixed between plastics and dead birds at the moment. The ones on the right are 2 plastic and 4 dead birds, but leaving that hole in the middle has now meant the pigeons are now coming in and trying to land again. And we're now... Well, I missed a couple and I've shot a couple. But we're getting there, and it's beginning to turn into a nice day's shooting. Sugar. I've just winged one. It's come down. Oh, about 20 yards to the right, just by the hedge there. I'm going to have to go out and dispatch it. Right, one came right into the decoys and started to land, and popping down it came. The other one went straight over the top. Otherwise to have a sweep round, but after the bang he ended up disappearing. Gun's reloaded. Got it in between my legs, just resting, with the muzzles pointing away from me. Just waiting for the next bird to come in, and they're flying around. They're flying up and down the flight line still. We'll get one coming in a minute. Right, that's a few more birds to the bag. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to unload the gun and put it down. I'm going to go out and I'm going to clear my killing area because it's beginning to get a bit crowded again, and the birds are beginning to start landing on the side of the pattern. So just to make the shooting a little bit easier, try and encourage them back into the hole in the middle. Okay, that's the killing area cleaned out again and tidied up the pattern. Somebody else is decoying on my right hand side somewhere. I can hear shots going off occasionally. I've got another 2 pigeons coming in. Oh, they're really high. Don't know if they're going to come down into the pattern at all. No, they got other things on their mind. They're twisted round and they're going off down the valley. The breeze has almost stopped now. It's very, very light. If you've got the breeze behind you in a hide, what you can do is split the pattern up into 2 on left and right sides of the hide. If the wind comes like it is at the moment, about 45 degrees off my left shoulder from behind me, the birds will come in and come across from, like I said before, right to left. But now the breeze has dropped and there's hardly any breeze at all. The birds are now coming straight into the hide and landing in the hole that I've got in the middle. Makes it easy shooting. Just put the bird on the bead and pull the trigger. But hang on a minute, I got another bird coming in. I hope you've enjoyed my pigeon shooting podcast. We had a nice day. I was going to try and finish it off on the field, but the battery ran out on the tape recorder. Isn't it always the way? But in the end of the day, Wayne ended up with 35 pigeons and 2 crows, and I ended up with 15 crows and 26 pigeons. If you have a look at the photograph on the notes for this podcast, you'll see I got about 26 pigeons and 1 crow. The rest of the crows I shot in the other field behind me. It was just a quick photograph we took just to give you some idea of how we ended up with the day. But we had a nice day in Wales, and thank you very much to Wayne for inviting me out.